Hi, I'm Gail and welcome back to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com. And I always say .com because that is my website, and I'm hoping that you guys will go to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com and check out some of the recipes that I'm putting on my site. Anyway, today we're going to do a low-carb bacon and cheese soup. It is an Atkins recipe. I've changed it up just a little bit because I kind of like mine a little bit better, and I wanted to share it with you. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to use a larger pot. I've got the burner on already, and I'm going to use a cup of my crumbled bacon. Now you can use thick sliced bacon. You can use about 4 slices of the bacon. And mine's frozen, so I'm just going to let it, cook up in here. Now that my bacon is cooked, I'm going to add a small onion, and that worked out to be about 1/4 cup of white onion. And we're just going to stir this up and cook it till the onions are a little brown. So now I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of dried mustard and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm going to add in 2 cups of chicken broth. Now you need to check your chicken broth when you're reading the labels, because there are some chicken broths out there that they're higher in carbs, and there's many out there that there's no carbs in them. So just take a look, make sure you pick them with the low carb count. So we're going to boil this up. So I have my soup on low, and I am going to put in a thickener. Now the thickener that I use is called Thick It Up. You can buy it on my site or any other sites also on lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com. I really like this. There's no carbs in it at all. It's mostly fiber that's in there, and it thickens up quite well. So we're going to put in 4 teaspoons, and we're going to whisk it in to make sure we don't have lumps in there. Now another thing you could do, you can see it thickening up already. Another thing you can do is you can use pure gar gum. Now this you can buy at your grocery store, usually in the organic aisle, or at Bulk Barn here in Ontario, Canada. You can use it also. And one of the tricks I find with it is I use it as a shaker. You don't need heat to make it thicken up. It'll thicken up on its own, but I like putting in the shaker because that prevents a lot of the lumps. So now I'm going to put in 1/2 and 1/2 cream, and this container is 473 mils, which is about 2 cups. So I'm going to put 2 cups of cream into the soup. Stir that up. And we're going to put in 1.5 cups of cheese. And we're just going to keep stirring this around until it's melted. And 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. So we're just going to turn the burner up, and we're going to cook this until all the cheese is melted. So here is my low-carb Atkins bacon and cheese soup. Now what I ended up doing is I added two more cups of chicken broth because it was so thick. So obviously I didn't need to use as much as that Thick It Up that I did put in the recipe. It's quite cheesy. I would say this soup, I would eat it just a small amount just before a meal or something, but I couldn't imagine having it as a bowl of soup that I would just eat as the meal. I would just have just a small amount of it. My husband quite liked it. Now I'm not as fussy on it, but I'd like to see you give it a try and see what you think. Go to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com, try this recipe and other low-carb recipes, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.